and I congratulate the Honorable Finance Minister, Mr. Itila Rajendra Saab, for presenting the fourth consecutive budget of the state of Telangana. Sir, when he presented the first budget after the formation of Telangana state in 2014, the new state was experiencing the birth pangs. Over the last 3 financial years, the state economy and finances have established. The TRS government has completed 33 months in office, and the 2016 and 17 financial year is drawing to a close. At the end of this month, it is certainly the time to stock taking and assessing the performance of the first government in the new states. So the Finance Minister Saab had presented an overview of the achievements of the Telangana government under the leadership of the Honorable Chief Minister Janab Chandrasekhar Rao Sahab. The state has overcome the teething troubles, and 4 consecutive budgets presented by the Finance Minister have focused on the twin objectives of the development of the state in all sectors and welfare of all sections of society. This is a stupendous task, and the state will have to endeavor very hard in the next few years to achieve the vision of Bangaru Telangana, sir. In this task, I would like to assure that we are with you, sir. So the Finance Minister Saab had said that the budget for 2017 and 18 is different from the previous ones, since it has been formulated following the Union government's diktat to do away with the planned and non-planned classification of the expenditure. However, I would like to point out that this budget for the next financial year has been prepared in the backdrop of demonetization effect by the central government in November 2016, sir. So Rajendra Saab has admitted that the major development having a bearing on budget for 2017 and 18 in the demonetization of the high-value currency notes on November 8 last year, sir. Sir, he pointed out that this has adversely affected the revenue collections under stamps and registration, and to a lesser extent, the revenue from VAT in the current financial year, that is 2016 and 17, sir. So he also noted that there were some uncertainties with regard to revenue implications of the proposed introduction of goods and service tax, GST, from July 2017, sir. So citing fact and figure, the Finance Minister Saab has projected a very impressive picture of the state economy in the current year. Sir, he has pointed out that the GDP growth in this fiscal year would be double digits at 10.1%, and this would be much higher than the expected national GDP growth of 7.1%. At constant price, the GDP growth was only 8.7% in 2014 and 15 and 9.5% in 2015 and 16. So he has patted himself that the state could achieve a double-digit growth despite the adverse impact of demonetization and high denomination currency notes on economic activities, sir. Sir, I would like to know what could have been the growth in GSDP this year if there had been no demonetization, sir. In other words, what has been the adverse impact of demonetization in the fiscal terms, like the loss of much percentage of GSDP growth in the current year? I would seek specific data on this issue, sir. Sir, higher agriculture growth on account of good rainfall, better industrial production growth in service sectors have been contributed to the GSDP, and rupees 6.54 lakh crore at current prices, according to growth of 13.7%. The per capita income is estimated at 1.58 lakhs at current prices this year, as against rupees 1.41 lakh in 2015 and 16. Sir. Sir, I would like to compliment the TRS government, particularly the Chief Minister Saab, for this, sir. Sir, however, I am disappointed that this double-digit growth in GSDP this year and the constant increase in growth rate of state economy in the previous 2 years has not contributed to the corresponding high growth in the state budgetary revenues and expenditures. So the figure furnished by the Finance Minister Saab speaks for themselves. Honorable Speaker, sir, the total expenditure had amounted to rupees 62,302 crores in 2014 and 15, as against the budget estimate of rupees 1,638 crores, indicating a shortfall of rupees 38,332 crores, or I would say shortfall of 38%, sir. Sir, in 2015 and 16 financial year, the state total expenditure rose to 97,923 crores as against the budget estimate of rupees 1,15,689 crores, signifying a shortfall again of rupees 17,766 crores or 15%. For these figures, sir, I am not adding the supplementary estimates. I am not adding the supplementary estimates that were presented to the Finance Minister for the 2014 and 15-16 financial year, sir. Sir, again in the current financial year, Rajendra Saab has come up with a revised estimate of rupees 1,12,191 crore as against the budget estimate of rupees 1,30,416 crore. This means a shortfall of rupees 18,225 crores or 14%. Sir, the data available on the CAG website shows the total expenditure of the state in the first 9 months of the current year. This is from April to December 2016 is rupees 74,340 crores. This means that the expenditure during January 2017 will be 37,851 crores. Sir. So the Finance Minister Saab has attributed the shortfall in budget expenditure to the shortfall in revenue in 2017 and 18 due to reduction in grants from the central government, apart from the fact that that to quote him, the demonetization of high-value currency notes has affected revenue collections. Sir, he pointed out that all these matters are beyond control of the state government. From the day one, when the demonetization was announced, I had pointed out that this would adversely affect the state finances and economy during the last 5 months of the financial year, that is November 2016, March 2017, sir. Sir, I am sure when the financial year draws to a close on 31st March, the Finance Minister Saab would have to figure out the actual expenditure and the government during the fiscal year, and he would also know what is the actual impact of demonetization on state finances. Sir, sir, keeping with his optimism, Rajendra Saab had presented an all-time high budget with estimate expenditure of rupees 1,49,646 crores in the coming financial year 2017-18. He has based his optimism partly on higher transfer of rupees 43,863 crores, sir, from the central government in 2017 and 18 compared to rupees 28,443 crores in the current year. I don't know how the central transfer will be higher by 15,429 crore in the next financial year. This is a question. Sir, at the same time, sir, when the state has experienced a huge shortfall in the central transfers in the last 3 years of 2014, 15, 16, as against the anticipated central transfer of rupees 31,470 crore, the actual release worked out to rupees 15,006 crores in 2014 and 15, sir. Similarly, against the budget central transfer of rupees 25,223 crores, the actual release amount is rupees 21,745 crores, sir. In 2015 and 16, the current year, 2016-17, revised estimate is rupees 28,231 crore against the budget estimate of 28,512, sir. Sir, in the next financial year, this is 2017 and 18, the Finance Minister Saab assumes a 55% jump in the central transfer compared to 2016 and 17. The central grant in aid of rupees 26,857 crores include grant for special package and additional central assistance of rupees 11,800 crores. I would request Rajendra Saab to enlighten us on the special package from the center. So there have been a huge shortfall in the state-owned tax revenues and non-tax revenues during the last 3 years. The shortfall in central transfer and state-owned taxes and non-tax revenues have been main cause of for the state for not being able to spend the budgetary allocation of various sectors and departments since 2014 and 15. So lesser central transfer and state-owned revenues were responsible for modest revenue surplus of rupees 369 crore in 2014 and 15 and rupees 238 crores in 2015 and 16. So the surplus is likely to be only 199 crores as per revised estimate of 2016 and 17. So the end result of lesser central transfer and state-owned revenues has been escalating fiscal deficit that jumps from 9,410 crores in 2014 and 15 to rupees 18,856 crores in 2015 and 16, sir. And further to rupees 21,893 crores in 2016 and 17, this estimate to soar to rupees 26,096 crores in 2017 and 18, sir. Sir, I was glancing the social economic outlook of 2017 presented by the finance minister with the state budget for 2017 and 18. The outlook presented a data on the gross district domestic product, GDP, for 2015 and 16 at current prices for all the 31 districts in the state. As per GDP estimate, Hyderabad, Rangareddy and Medchal, Malkajgiri districts occupied top 3 position with 1,36,388 crores to rupees 82,359 crores and rupees 47,060 crores respectively, sir. So the top 4 districts, GDP, Hyderabad, Rangareddy, Medchal, Malkajgiri and Sangareddy constitute about 52% of Telangana GSDP, sir, indicating concentration of economic activities in and around state capital. The remaining 27 districts comprising the Telangana hinterland contribute only 48% of GSDP with their largely agrarian and mining based activities, sir. Sir, if the previous Congress and Telugu Desam government in their erstwhile United Andhra Pradesh had concentrated on strengthening the economic base of all Telangana districts during their rule, though dispersal of industries and services activities, the new state of Telangana would not have been saddled with the loop-sided economic base that has inherited, sir. The Congress and TDP leaders who are making noises must explain why did their regimes neglected Telangana region during their rule, sir. Sir, last year, the Telangana government had taken up the reorganization of districts by carving out 21 districts from existing 10 districts. New revenue divisions, mandal, police commissioner, police subdivision, circle office and police stations have been created. Soon after the districts were created, the demonetization of high-value notes spoke as the government plans to take up infrastructure development and construction of integrated office complexes were delayed by a few months. I hope all the district offices in the new districts will become functional in the next financial year, sir. Sir, I would like the Honorable Chief Minister Sahab to clarify on a report in a Telugu TV channel recently. The central government has not approved the creation of total 31 districts in Telangana state. I don't know how far it is true. But the Union Home Minister had directed the Telangana government to redraw the boundaries of reorganized 31 districts into 20 compact districts. If the state does not comply with the central government order, this may lead to confrontation with the center over the issue. If the state obeys the central lists, this may give up.
అధ్యక్ష, కొన్ని విషయాలు కొన్ని సందర్భాలలో చాలా అవాంఛితంగా కూడా అందరినీ అనను నేను, కొంత అత్యుత్సాహం ఉండే మీడియా లేని ప్రచారాలు కొన్ని చేస్తారు. जिले बनाने का जो पावर है, it is 100% with the states, the discretion of the state. Government of India has just nothing to do with formation of districts. It's a totally false report. Kindly don't go by that. My request would be, it's a totally false thing. Neither the Government of India nor the Ministry of Home has made any effort like that. They did not interfere. It's a totally wrong news.
I thank the Honorable Chief Minister for giving a reply on the matter raised by me, sir. But at the same time, sir, the most important thing is that we need the post to be sanctioned for the new districts. And I hope that the Government of India would sanction the new post for the new districts, because that is very important, sir. The districts would not be able to function without the civil services officers, sir. Sir, it is a positive sign that the Finance Minister Saab presented a tax-free budget for the 4th consecutive time. It is another matter that sometimes the government has resorted to pre and post budget hikes in taxes and levies by amending the various tax laws or issuing notifications, sir. Also, the discoms have resorted to power tariff hike, and the TSRTC has also raised the bus fares, which have added to the financial burden of the people. Besides, the demonetization had dealt a body blow to all sections of people. The Finance Minister Saab has indicated that the higher tax revenues target would be achieved by improving tax collections, plugging leakages, expanding the tax base. He also said that efforts would be made to encourage digital transaction and thereby improve tax compliance. I would like to caution the state government to gradually move towards digital and cashless economy instead of rushing through. Large sections of people in business infrastructures are not yet ready for a switch over to digital economies. So unless all the cashless transactions are made free of service charges, no one is going to burn the hole in his pocket by making cashless payments. Sir, at the same time, sir, so Honorable Speaker, sir, the banks are flushed with money, but the ATMs are dry. Nowhere in the city, ATMs, there are hardly, I would say, 1 to 2% ATMs have cash and are working. I request the Honorable Chief Minister Saab to kindly look into this. हैदराबाद शहर में एटीएम्स में कहीं पर भी पैसा नहीं मिल रहा है, ज्यादातर एटीएम्स खाली हैं सर. सो सवाल यह है कि कितना पैसा हमारी रियासत से गया था पुराने नोटों की शक्ल में और कितना पैसा हमको मिला. और आज हो सकता है मैं गलत हूं, लेकिन यह बात कही जा रही है कि जितना पैसा था सारा पैसा उत्तर प्रदेश गया था, पंजाब गया था, मणिपुर गया था, उत्तराखंड गया था, वहां इलेक्शंस थे वहां गया था, इसलिए यहां नहीं आया, पता नहीं कहां गया. खैर जहां भी गया हमको इस बात से कोई सरोकार नहीं है. हम चाहते हैं कि हमारी रियासत में भी हमको बराबर पैसा मिले. आज एटीएम में पैसा नहीं है. मैं उम्मीद करता हूं कि चीफ मिनिस्टर साहब और हुकूमत इस ताल्लुक से भी गौर करेगी. सर, द इश्यू ऑफ पब्लिक डेब्ट्स एंड डेब्ट मैनेजमेंट इज क्रूशियल फॉर द फिस्कल हेल्थ ऑफ द स्टेट. द 14th फाइनेंस कमीशन हैज स्टिपुलेटेड दैट फिस्कल डेफिसिट should be brought down to 3% per annum during 2015 and 20. Both in current year 2016 and 17 and then showing year 2017 and 18, the state is allowed to borrow up to 3.5% of GSDP on fulfillment of certain conditions. This is considered necessary to maintain the growth momentum in the state through focus on infrastructure development, sir. So, however, a matter of serious concern is how the soaring borrowings, even as per the FRBM limits and relaxation, may lead to mounting debt burden of state and its people. Telangana state inherited a debt of rupees 72,415 crore from the United Andhra Pradesh consequent to the bifurcation in June 2014.
అధ్యక్ష బీకామ్ లో ఫిజిక్స్ చదివిన వాళ్లకు నా లెక్కలు అర్థం కావాలి అధ్యక్ష.